So, have we got more developments on that ter Stegen story, Peter? Yeah, so Marc-Andre is demanding £42 million to leave Barcelona early. For what? He's I think I'd trust Stephen Hawking to say something over him. If he can get 40 million, son, it's time for Project ter Stegen. I can't lie, Dad, yeah, the way I just shat myself is a myth. What a day! Oh my day. Son, you need to move. I mean, you did tell him to be like ter Stegen, to be fair, boss, so... Yo guys, it is your boy Nirin here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. So I apologise, there was no episode last week. To be honest with you, kinda burnt out. I do this series every single week without fail and just wanted a week off. I'm gonna be so unbelievably honest with you. And last week seemed like a good time with no football actually happening. Thank you though for your continued support. We're going hard next season. Pause. But either way, what's been kicking off in the world this week? Nothing too mental, you know, just another war on the way. Outside of Israel, stat padding their attack and other country numbers to 6 in 3 years. And in lesser news, a man sat on a famous Van Gogh chair and broke it in a museum. Call it a Luke Shaw chair now, because most of its legs don't work. Yeah, must have an arse of thunder, by the way, to destroy a diamond chair. Van Gogh, meanwhile, is going to be fuming when he hears about this one, providing he's turned to the left. Before we get into the football, I want to ask you a question. What new features or segments do you want to see in this series? Like Still 0-0, like the beautiful game, like goals of the week. I've got a few ideas, but I want to keep things fresh going into year 6 of this series. Jesus Christ, I'm old. You know what we need after a long season though in June? That's right, more football.
Thousands and thousands of hours of football, each more climactic than the last.
FIFA love money, so here we are. If you're watching more club football in June, you need to be on a psychiatric ward. Luckily for me, my next appointment's on Monday, so let's jump straight in. German giants Bayern Munich faced off against tournament minnows in Auckland City, a team in New Zealand that are part-timers. No, quite literally. Their coach is a dentist and had bare appointments, so he had to stay in New Zealand. Their captain is a supermarket salesperson. Jerson Lagos is a qualified barber, and their goalkeeper Connor Tracy said he had to take a leave of absence from work, working at a warehouse and a pharmaceutical. To be fair, Serge Gnabry's taken a leave of absence for the last 2 years, and no one's calling him into the office. Guys, their goalkeeper is literally a forklift driver, and if you're wanting to drive a fork into his eyes, even Bayern Munich sent this one into double figures.
Is unbelievable. That is a bad one.
Auckland City themselves had to relay the bad news to their followers of their 10-0 defeat. To be honest, unlucky lads, it was a close match, I can't even lie. San Marino even replying, happy that someone else is taking a battering for once.
Leave the football before the football leaves you.
What is it with Bayern Munich absolutely pumping small teams? Auckland City, those German minnows every year. Barcelona. Some 16-year-old German regen was on the bench waiting to get himself on the score sheet as well.
Calm down, bro. You're gonna get some.
Honestly, Vincent Kompany probably could have come on and got a brace. Meanwhile, for Harry Kane, he got 0 goals and a 6.8 rating in an everybody eats game. But despite all the goals going in and some of their players being missing, Michael Olise wasn't feeling bad for the New Zealanders.
You started off celebrating the first few goals. It got less and less celebratory during the game. Did you feel a little bit bad for Auckland? Because obviously you were so much stronger than your opponents.
Nope. They might have to send their keeper back to Home Depot, man. He got a 2.3 rating. He's basically a civilian. He's used to seeing boxers in his day-to-day life. And honestly, Auckland City didn't ever get out of theirs. He might have to box someone from Soccer Age instead. Because their manager was left frustrated looking at the scoreboard, seeing 6-0, only to realise they were only 45 minutes in. Imagine being one of their defenders, being an electrician by trade. You're 7-0 down and Jamal Musiala comes on. Can I say something mad, though? It's actually a decent result. They're not even pro ballers. They go home to a different job. This is actually a beautiful storyline that they're actually going to be able to play against these guys in a tournament such as this in America. To me, they should do a return leg where Vincent Kompany does the job of the Auckland City manager instead. He just becomes an NHS key worker. Harry Kane crawling through some chimney in Christchurch somewhere. Genuinely, they showed a lot of heart. But really, all it does is highlight the gap between, you know, semi-pro ballers and the elite is as big as ever. The opening game of the Club World Cup, though, was instead Lionel Messi's Inter Miami. And in a thrilling game that absolutely contributed to the history and growth of world football, yeah, ended 0-0, I'm not gonna lie. Lionel himself got a spectacular entrance, but it didn't really help with attendances, as only 20,000 tickets of the 65,000 capacity were sold for Leo to face up against Al Ahly. So basically, they had to give away the rest to the youth with some crazy deal that meant they were worth about $3. I'm gonna take a wild shot in the dark and say that's not sustainable. Though we're in the USA, so a wild shot in the dark happens a lot. Halftime interviews were all also a key fixture of this one. Let's wrap it all up, guys. The game's done.
The game's gone, innit? The game's gone.
Shout out to Astari, a 38-year-old goalkeeper who made some brilliant saves for Inter Miami and won the Superior Player of the Match award. What in the Konami is this, fam? Did they not get the rights to man of the match? Isospeed attended the game wearing a Cristiano Ronaldo shirt and was then promptly ignored by Lionel Messi live on stream. He was trying to keep it together watching Leo's brilliance from the stands.
Nah, I'm tripping. Fuck this nigga! Ronaldo better!
Now, Gianni Infantino is kind of the key figure of this Club World Cup. The FIFA president really pushing for this to happen and pushing for it to happen in America. He clearly did so much for the competition that he even gets his own official sticker in the Club World Cup Panini sticker book. Today I feel collectible. He's actually so self-centered. Like, who the hell is opening up a set of stickers and getting gassed over getting Gianni Infantino?
No hair will ever grow on his head again.
There should be a rule, realistically, that if you can't even take a corner properly, you cannot get yourself into a football sticker book. Another bright idea Gianni had ahead of the Club World Cup was to intentionally remove any anti-racism or anti-discrimination messages from stadiums or from artwork around. To be fair, this is being played in the USA, so they actually know their audience at the moment. And speaking of Americans, at the Club World Cup, LAFC were beaten by part-time football club Part-Time University Chelsea 2-0 the final score. Todd Bowley could be seen in the stands getting into the American spirit.
Fight and win!
Now, this game didn't do a great job when it came to perception of attendances for this tournament, as there were empty seats all over the place. Genuinely, they should have just got the rest of Chelsea's squad to sit down. They'd have packed out the arena. In fairness, everyone was at work. This game was played at like 2 p.m. on a Monday. It also saw the introduction of a referee camera, which could be seen for Pedro Neto's goal, where he sent a defender to the Canadian border and back. Meanwhile, Olivier Giroud held up the second half because he forgot his shirt coming out of the tunnel. Let's be honest, he just wanted to be topless on the big screen. Paris Saint-Germain played against Atletico Madrid, and there was a much better attendance here, 80,000 fans in total, though there was still time for woke nonsense as we got ads mid-game. Imagine being in the final, you're about to step up and take a penalty, and Shaquille O'Neal starts talking to you about target. Okay, this is big. It's 1-1, 93rd minute. I've got to tuck this one away. But have you ever thought about tucking the little one away? What do you... sorry, what are you talking about? In need of a little duvet for your children? Then go to Brenda's Blanket Store. I'm about to take a penalty. Made from 100% cotton, plucked from the good old days. That seems a little bit. This cozy garment can be yours for just 17 easy payments of $45.99. They did replays for the goals here. Fam, this looks like I'm playing FIFA. What the hell is this gameplay? Clearly, they set the difficulty to amateur because they won 4-0. Manchester City started their Club World Cup tour with a win over Wydad. Coincidentally, what Foden's son asks when Phil says they're trying for a 16th child. Rico Lewis clearly watched one of the Saudi Pro League teams before attempting an involuntary beheading and getting a red card for it. Meanwhile, for Erling Haaland, and he was too busy forgetting to put his SPF 60 on, getting sunburnt upon stepping off the plane in Miami. His Viking DNA had absolutely no idea what was going on. And the poor Norwegian was left depressed without his plane buddy in Jack Grealish, who could be seen drinking himself into oblivion at home.
This is what he does!
New Botafogo signing Joaquin Correa was asked about playing his brother Angel Correa during the course of the Club World Cup tournament. The only issue was that the journalist didn't quite understand the possibility of two men having the same name but not actually being related, Joaquin having to confirm the fact that they actually weren't siblings. You must be excited to see Ulsan HD playing. Why would I? Well, South Korea, you're related to them as well, at least cousins. One Japanese fan decided that he was going to do the maddest hate watch of the year, traveling all the way from Japan to watch his sworn enemies Uriah Red Diamonds get beaten by River Plate. Meanwhile, the fans were turning up for Tunisian side ES Tunis as well, crowding out Times Square. Now, I'm not gonna lie, in the build-up to this tournament, I maybe let my European brain win a little bit in terms of a lack of interest. Ultimately, a lot of these clubs that don't get to play against the giants of European football have brought decent attendances, or at the very least, decent vibes. But the game's still a little bit gone, isn't it, really? With 3 red cards in a dramatic affair between Boca Juniors and Benfica, it's only the Club World Cup, lads. Can you even be asked to get that annoyed? This isn't even a rivalry. This is just pure direct aggression. And speaking of one of those sendings off, the referee accidentally pulled out an extra card when dishing out a red. Our Lady of Guadalupe, a religious figure, clearly this man being blessed with the gift of a red card. Now, lads, Liverpool might not be playing, but there's still some croquet going on. Oh, how undeniably unexpected. Trent Alexander-Arnold was revealed as a Real Madrid player for the first time this week. He did his first press conferences, answered his first questions, brought out his first statement, and he did it all in fluent Spanish.
Buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon.
Gracias tanto al presidente Florentino Perez como al club Real Madrid.
Thank you, Florentino Perez.
Esta oportunidad. Fichar por un club como Real Madrid no sucede todos los días.
Oh, language learned quickly. You can't learn how to mark a left winger in 20 years, but he's nailed Spanish in 2 weeks, for God's sake. Google Translate, mark your man, boss, and then maybe we'll get somewhere. The former Liverpool man, though, will be left spooked when Xabi Alonso asks him to track back in Spanish.
Oh, what? I don't know what that means.
How long had he been learning this, bruv? He must have been learning Spanish when he was still a Liverpool player. In preparation for going to Real Madrid, Dominic Szoboszlai left suspicious, catching him speaking Spanish with Stefan Bajcetic. Arnie Slot confused, seeing him giving Luis Diaz perfectly fluent advice when the Colombian was coming on as a substitute. He must have known that the rest of the team was BMing him, listening in as Darwin Núñez called him the light-skinned Phil Neville, the Uruguayan not knowing that he could speak Spanish as well. His former wing-back partner, a man who provided so many assists for Liverpool in Andrew Robertson as well, also may be on the verge of a move to Spain, this time in the form of Atletico Madrid. I can't lie, Andrew might have a difficult job trying to reproduce this level of Spanish communication.
They have been training with me 2, 3, 4 times.
The average person takes 9 to 12 months to learn, fam. Listen, stop saving Duolingo chat. He replied saying, thank you for the streak, bro, it's a wrap. It's a shithousery award for the Duolingo bird. This is the precise moment he decided to download Duolingo. And on top of that, apparently Ibrahima Konate, whose contract expires at the end of this season, could also be heading to Real Madrid on a free transfer too.
When is it gonna end?
I can't lie, Virgil van Dijk will be on the verge of losing it when Konate says "Donde está ball" in the first 5 minutes of our first league game this season.
Fuck off, you Spanish cunt.
Trent was even pictured with some of the rest of the Real Madrid squad, including the likes of Kylian Mbappe and Eduardo Camavinga. The question I have is, who even took this picture? Nobody's even holding a phone in their hand. And someone on Twitter asked why there were 2 Mbappes. Open the schools, please, I'm begging you. It's Ethan Mbappe, bro. He just snuck into the pitch. He's on trial at Real Madrid. And Trent would make his debut in the Club World Cup against Saudi Arabian opposition. I was sitting down ready to make a slanderous list of his mistakes. And honestly, I didn't really have to try all that hard, I'm not gonna lie. The performance was pretty poor, and the number 66 shirt has followed him all the way to Spain. He was finding it difficult to keep up with a tech assistant from Saudi Arabia. Real Madrid fans around the stadium giving him stick just 4 minutes in. Who am I kidding? There probably weren't any fans in the stadium. Jude Bellingham couldn't quite believe what he was seeing and won't be wanting to talk to his soulmate at full time.
Sorry, you got the wrong guy.
Listen,
Get
son.
the fuck away from me, dog.
Trent was seen subbed off early in this one, clutching a bib to his face. It's actually Jude Bellingham's. He just wanted to smell it a little bit. Meanwhile, new Al Hilal manager Simone Inzaghi wasn't troubling himself with all these Real Madrid politics, instead attempting to put in the world's worst round of hide and seek. Next up, let's take a little look at the international break from last week, where England faced off against Senegal. I talked about it a bit more in a video that came out yesterday, but England were defeated 3-1 by Senegal, the first time that we've ever been beaten by a team from Africa on international duty. All of Africa will be seen laughing at Jamie Carragher after the former Liverpool centre-back's comments about AFCON recently. Harvey Elliott was celebrating with the Senegal fans after not getting a senior call-up again. If I'm Thomas Tuchel, I'm chasing Kyle Walker out of this squad. Honestly, maybe we were being a bit harsh on Gareth Southgate, you know. I know there would have been some terrorism, but at least we'd win. As for Declan Rice, he's making waves. Not out on the football pitch, just on the top of his head.
On the deck.
You just knew that was going to happen.
Soccer Aid time next, where a group of English ex-footballers and celebrities play against those from the rest of the world. England's side including Manchester United legends like Gary Neville, Michael Carrick and Paul Scholes. But just like his fellow orange-haired individual, Angry Ginge would meet defeat in Soccer Aid. The rest of the world side winning once again, Carlos Tevez coming on to score at Old Trafford, pointing to his ear and to his shirt against the set of fans that absolutely despise him at Old Trafford. He's now scored more goals at the stadium in 10 minutes than Rasmus Højlund has in 2025. Ginge taking it very personally when getting players to sign his shirt.
Signed by every single person and the away team, bar one man. A fucking traitor. Tevez ain't signing my fucking shirt. Not in a million fucking years.
Ange Postecoglou could be about to land himself a new job. He won something at Tottenham and they got him out of there.
We don't do that here.
He could well be heading to Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia to collect the check. It's not all fun and games though. Can't imagine he'll be too happy finding out they don't sell Fosters over there. Now, the big news international football-wise from the last couple of weeks was Portugal winning the Nations League. They defeated Spain in a penalty shootout after a class game. Alvaro Morata missing the decisive penalty, which is probably the most predictable outcome of this season, and it hasn't even started yet. There would be no casualties if he was a terrorist. I'll tell you that right now. Fucking hell. PSG midfield maestro Vitinha almost smashed smashed the trophy upon lifting it. Meanwhile, Cristiano Ronaldo at the age of 40 still impressed here, grabbing a goal. One supporter getting very excited by the prospect of him on a ball. Yeah, Ron would have loved the banner until clocking that it's not a fit woman holding it, and instead it's a 67-year-old man from Lisbon. It's a third international trophy for Ronaldo, 2 Nations Leagues and 1 Euros in 2016, which some people on Twitter are saying that 2 Nations Leagues is better than 1 World Cup. We've got a defund football Twitter, I'm telling you now. Nuno Mendes versus Lamine Yamal was pretty one-sided, the Portuguese left-back putting another class winger in his pocket.
You actually feel a little bit sorry for him.
I'm seeing people talking about Lamine malnourished. Elsewhere, and 2 rivals of Eastern Europe played against each other. Serbia versus Albania, ending 0-0. What the fuck? It was like 2 yellow cards and not a single case of GBH or manslaughter. Not even one diplomatic incident in the Balkans. What has this game come to? Albanian mascots were, to be fair, flinging up the Albanian flag when stood next to the Serbians, and there was petty stuff when it came to the flags, as Albania hung up the smallest one possible for Serbia. There was, however, violence from Enzo Fernandez versus Colombia as he rearranged an opponent's frontal lobe. Bro, look, listen, it's a high challenge, okay, but why does this guy look like he's been electrocuted? His cheeks are jiggling, you know. Bro's bussing it down. I probably shouldn't say bus in front of Enzo Fernandez. He's not very good on no. New Manchester City recruit Ryan Shirky already hates Manchester United. I joined a club, mate, honestly. And has said that he wants to be exciting. He wants to be pulling off lots of tricks. What, under Pep Guardiola, mate? Jack Grealish giving him a warning as a flair-filled player entering a Man City training ground.
You know. Sorry, man.
Okay.
Get out! Pep will be absolutely fuming with the Frenchman when he rainbow flicks past 3 players and gets an assist instead of turning back and playing it to Manuel Akanji. There's interesting news coming out of Plymouth Argyle, where Gareth Bale is invested in a group that wants to take over the football club. I mean, it sounds all well and good, but how are they going to explain to Plymouth supporters watching on as their main striker gets a putter out instead of his shin pads?
What is he doing? Please stop.
There's going to be 18 holes at that stadium next season. Honestly, it's probably better for Plymouth fans the way things are going. They'll have to find a new way to celebrate 97th minute winners with golf champion Gareth Bale around. Oh, that is a spiffing strike. Now, in Spain, Barcelona fans are hoping to raise enough money to sign Nico Williams. You've got supporters donating via YouTube to bring him through the doors. I don't think Athletic Club will be too happy when they do the conversion and realise what 4.8 billion Vietnamese dong translates to.
$7? Are you fucking serious?
You know what? Fuck it. I'm sure they'll accept, to be fair, now that Danny Olmo Shaga 47 has slapped 6 yen on the table. Pau Kubazi revealed an interesting revelation that he, as a baby, also met Lionel Messi like Lamine Yamal did. We need to get this man a new job in Barcelona. Why is he always with kids, mate? Meanwhile, Santi Cazorla was the hero over in Spain as well, guiding his hometown side Oviedo to a win in their first leg of a promotion playoff, scoring a beautiful free kick to do so. He earns basically minimum wage for the club, and a lot of his shirt sales go to charity. It's a really admirable cause that he's got going on there, and he's still the difference maker. In Italy, and Kevin De Bruyne is officially making his move from Manchester City to Napoli. Napoli fans treasuring the occasion by creating Kevin De Brownie ice cream for him. What did you call me? There's movement for the national team where Gennaro Gattuso will be the new Italian national team manager. His team talks are going to be very dynamic indeed. He's known for his aggression. He'll be slide tackling Francesco Acerbi when he says he wants to see his grandkids instead of doing an 8th bleep test of the afternoon. Sampdoria were given a lifeline this week. Originally relegated to Serie C, they've been unrelegated after Brescia went out of business. Instead, they're in a relegation playoff where they won their first leg 2-0. As for Salernitana, also involved in a relegation playoff, they've had to ask for their second leg to be postponed after 21 of their players went down with food poisoning. 21, fam! Yeah, that's a poisoning. I'm telling you now, that's on purpose. Every single food option was laced. You can't tell me otherwise. Meanwhile, in France, and Nicolas Anelka is paying homage to his Parisian roots, wearing a PSG shirt as he looked to complete the Doha 10K. Now the time for your goals of the week, and just because the main season's over doesn't mean I can't still bring you some beautiful strikes. First of all, we're heading to Argentina, where future Real Madrid starlet Franco Mastantuono has scored yet another brilliant free kick. He's the future, but a legend of the past is Francesco Totti, who was involved in a charity match this week where he picked up the ball on the halfway line on the half volley and booted it from range. The man still got it. But finally, we head over to the MLS, where Anthony, no, not that one, has picked up the ball on the halfway line by flicking it over a defender. An absolutely beautiful piece of skill before carrying the ball all the way to the edge of the area and curling it into the top corner. A pretty unique goal that you barely ever see. The skill move itself is incredible. Absolutely majestic goal. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And And that concludes the beautiful game. Now, in Poland, there's drama with the national team. Robert Lewandowski stated he would never play for Poland again so long as their current manager was in charge. 2 days later, and he'd resigned. That's a power play, but I can't believe the manager's given up so easily. All he had to do was play the rest of the team his TikToks, and they would have sided with you, mate. At Germany, and shout out new R&B singer, The Weekday, Uzbekistan did the unthinkable by qualifying for the World Cup for the first time. Themselves and Jordan surprise underdogs now for the tournament next year. Uzbekistan players reward for qualifying new cars for all of them. Venezuela's police decided to prevent Bolivia from leaving the country for a full 24 hours just to try and disrupt their World Cup qualifying campaign. The dark arts extending to airport security. The game might be back. And speaking of a game maybe being back, despite being 3-0 down, Wales had given themselves a chance against Belgium with an incredible comeback. 3-0 to 3-3, only to then lose 4-3 anyway. Meanwhile, there's a crazy transfer coming out of Turkey as Leroy Sané has left Bayern to go to Galatasaray. How are they even doing this financially? Where'd you get your money from? 3 million people were watching live as the German international arrived in Istanbul, and 1 million people were tracking his plane. In Japan now, an absolutely crazy story, as in the nation's domestic cup, Riku Hirosui, playing for 4th tier Rhein-Near Omari FC, scored a penalty to eliminate AFC Champions League semi-finalist Yokohama Marinos. This from the Emperor's Cup, an absolutely crazy, underdog story anyway. 4th tier side versus one of the best teams in Japan, but for the goalkeeper to score a penalty in it as well is crazy, and he's actually scored penalties before. In MLS now, and Marco Reus, playing for LA Galaxy, has still got it with this absolutely beautiful flick of an assist. Meanwhile, in Croatia, and Ivan Rakitic is in hot water. He's been accused of being involved in a £3 million cryptocurrency fraud scandal. Ivan Rakitic, you know, I send him down just for him even making me remember that things like crypto and NFTs exist. Closer to home, and Joshua Zirkzee has been going absolutely crazy on holiday. This man scored more in Barbados than he did in Manchester this season. Speaking of comebacks in the Caribbean, but a much more serious one for Michail Antonio, who after his shocking and life-threatening car crash made his first return back for the Jamaica national team. Genuinely, actually inspiring to be back playing football for his nation so quickly after what happened. On Channel 4, one of their interns just absolutely loves the England under-21 side, using every programme on the channel's biography on the TV to fire in some kind of reference to it. At Fleetwood, they did a photo shoot for their new kit for the season, but seemingly the balls they were using didn't belong to them. As pointed out by AFC Barrow, it actually had their initials on instead of Fleetwood's. There was a unique celebration for Croatian side NK Novigrad, celebrating their promotion in style with a mini train around the village. Novel way of celebrating there, a novel way of disciplining your players over in Ghana. This side, who'd given away a 2-goal lead to be defeated pretty heavily, and the manager not taking things lightly, bringing out the machete. At Brunei Darussalam, and their winning goal versus Bhutan was a thing of beauty. Meanwhile, shout out to Comoros, who are managing to play 2 games at the exact same time in completely different tournaments. Don't bother calling 999 in Kenya, because the police force are too busy winning the league. Yet Police FC won their first ever Kenyan Premier League crown this week. Meanwhile, speaking of things you probably wouldn't expect to see on a football pitch, this K9's receiving his marching orders over in Turkey. Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink was known as having maybe the maddest name in footballing history. I mean, I just said it just then and it's absolutely ridiculous. His name barely ever fitted on the back of his shirt. Well, it's another kitman's problem now, as his son is representing the Netherlands at the Under-19 European Championships. The sad news for Irish side Drogheda United, who have been banned from Europe for being owned by a club that's also competing in the same competition. This is a rule that has been, threatening to kick sides out of European football for a little while since, multi-team ownership came into its being, I guess, 10 or so years ago. Just as a reminder, we had RB Leipzig and Red Bull Salzburg, both owned by Red Bull in the same Champions League group once, so lovely to see that this only affects the small teams. There was a scare in the Estonian league as one side accidentally found themselves 39-0 down, only to realise it was a glitch in the television system. Meanwhile, consistency is key for Mauritius, who drew every single one of their COSAFA Cup group stage matches in Africa 0-0. And speaking of which, it's time for Still 0-0. You guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now, the beautiful thing about Sunday League football is it is for everyone. It's for people of all shapes and sizes, of all ages and backgrounds. The entrance point is nothing. You don't have to prove to anybody that you can do what you need to do. You can just turn up and play. The slight issue with that is that you get goalkeepers who have got Papa Dom's fans. Maybe it's the arthritis kicking in. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, in Finland, where HJK Helsinki have got a very unique quarter-final coming up in the Finnish Cup. You see, HJK Helsinki are arguably the biggest club in Finland, and that means that their junior sides have got pretty good young talent in them as well. When those junior sides play in the same domestic cup, though, you end up with a situation like Helsinki have, where they're playing against their own reserve sides in the quarter-finals. Over in Djibouti now, in East Africa, there's the story of two teams that tried to fix a match for €175. A team called Gard Kot, one of their fitness coaches, decided to go to a player of Arta. He mentioned it to his coach, who took it to the Football Federation, only for the Football Federation to decide to ban both of them. Upon appeal, in the end, though, it was just the team that were trying to buy the game that were given a 3-point deduction, which seems pretty lenient, to be honest with you, given the circumstances. But finally, on more serious news, I want to pay my tributes to a trailblazer, a really important figure in my opinion, English football history, certainly over the last couple of decades, and that is Uriah Rennie, the first black referee in English football history. He sadly passed away last week at the age of 65. He is like an inspiration. I remember growing up being like, yo, that is gas. Like growing up seeing, you know, a black man with authority in charge of a football match. I'd never seen that before in the sport that I grew up loving. Not only that, he was a sick referee and seemingly a really, really nice guy as well. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then of course feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.